Hey everyone, this is Andy Melbuff, and in this video we're going to take a look at using computation layer to help produce input prompts and suffixes and explain prompts in Activity Builder to help us with the student demonstration of understanding and thinking. So let's go ahead and go to this first screen here, and this just shows a simple question with a note and a text box, and we want students to tell us about this linear function. And as a math teacher, we're looking to know things about slope and y-intercept and increasing, decreasing, x-intercepts, things like that. But the student might see this and they might not know how to get started or where to go, or they might just type a number in, or I see a 3 in there or something. They're unsure where to go. So we can prompt them a little bit to guide them along in this. So on this next screen, this is an almost identical question, but in the text box, I prompted the students with things I want them to tell me about. And you can see here that those are the things that we desire them to talk about and communicate with. So let me show you how that looks in this computation layer. I've got my note here, I've got a text box, and in this computation layer, the sync we use is called initial text. And after the colon, all we need to have is a quotation mark, and inside of that quotation mark is the message, the prompting that we want the students to see, and at the conclusion of that we have another quotation mark. You'll see in here also you can put in blanks for the students, you can put in spaces, however you want to format that. But that'll give the students a little bit of prompting, a little bit of a push in the right direction as to where you're going with this question. We can also do input prompts, not just for text boxes, but for math input boxes. So here's a math input component right here, and this says create a linear function, but we want to make sure the students use function notation. We can prompt them right here with that in a similar way. Let me leave the preview mode, and we're back in edit mode. So in my math input component, we don't use initial text anymore because it's not a text box, rather it's a math input box. So we use initial LaTeX as our sync, and again, whatever we want the student to see goes in quotation marks. We can also add a suffix to math components so that we can basically put in units, or we want to give a little prompting to students as to what type of format their answer is going to be in. So here's a question asking about area, and if I click in the answer blank, you'll see square feet at the end. So this basically tells the student you're going to be answering an area question in square feet. So it's just a little bit more guidance there. Let me leave the preview mode and go into this math answer box down here, this math input component, and I'm going to go in the computation layer, and the sync we want to use is suffix, and it's simply what we want in quotation marks afterwards. And lastly, in terms of students explaining themselves and their responses, etc., and showing their thinking, we can add something called an explain prompt. So here's a note with a math input component again, and we're asking students how much is the total cost. Well, when the student types something in, and I'm just going to make up a wrong answer here, $50, when they press submit and explain, this is a very specific explain prompt. You can type in there whatever you want them to see. So I just chose here, tell me why you chose this response, and the student can fill that in the box below. So here's how this looks in the edit mode here. I've got my math component, and you need to have checked the box that says ask student to explain their answer. In the computation layer, we use the sync explain prompt, and we just simply put in quotation marks again what we want the message to be to students. So if I were to change this to convince me of your understanding, and then I go into preview mode and I'll type in my same wrong answer from before, submit and explain. Now it shows convince me of your understanding. So you can get the students to dig a little bit deeper into telling you how they know that answer for this particular question. So that's using the explain prompt sync. Okay, thank you for watching.